5 on your side at 10 starts now.
The St. Louis County Executive under investigation.
I can't imagine that anyone has done anything wrong.
He ignored our advice. We deserve better than that.
Tonight, the County Council demanding answers from Sam Page.
This long-lasting heat and humidity finally breaks later tomorrow. When the storm chances signaling that change increase, and what threats thunderstorms could bring to the area.
Plus, a recycling mess in St. Louis City.
Not figuring out how we can successfully recycle seems like a challenge we should be facing head on.
The confusion surrounding where your recyclables are going.
5 on your side starts now with breaking news.
We start tonight with breaking news as a major earthquake has triggered tsunami warnings and watches across the globe.
The 8.8 magnitude earthquake struck off the eastern coast of Russia. Alaska and Hawaii are under tsunami warning. Here is a live look at Waikiki Beach in Hawaii, where the first tsunami waves are expected to hit around 1 a.m. St. Louis time. Right now, there are major traffic backups as people head for higher ground. The warning in Hawaii warned people that urgent action should be taken to protect lives and property. And other alerts are in place all across the West Coast. This is one of the largest earthquakes the world has ever seen. The largest since 2011 when a 9.0 magnitude earthquake hit Japan.
Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell is tracking those warnings for us tonight.
How do these types of warnings work, Scott?
Well, first of all, the Tsunami Warning Center's up in Palmer, Alaska, which is St. Louis native, actually works in that office up there, is initiating the warnings for the west coast of the U.S. and Alaska, as well as the Pacific Warning Center out in Hawaii. This is Honolulu right now. And what's going to happen? This was a big earthquake, okay? It's top 10, magnitude 8.8. And the depth on this, about 13 miles deep. So that's fairly shallow. A lot of earthquakes are much deeper. And this is also the type of quake that instead of just moving sideways, lifts large chunks of the ground, the seafloor up, and that displaces the water. Just like when you're in the bathtub and you're kicking your knees and your legs up and down and you're displacing the water, it's on a huge scale. So the Aleutian Islands, they have right now tsunami warnings. It's advisories for the west coast of the United States, and the tsunami warning that's in Hawaii. They've got about 3 hours before those first waves make it there. It travels very quickly across the ocean. All right, so you're looking at these storms now here back home across Nebraska, Kansas, up into Iowa. How this evolves is going to dictate what happens to us tomorrow. We do think that we're quiet overnight tonight, and some of those storms may impact us as soon as lunchtime or a little after tomorrow. But the heat headlines remain the same for St. Louis. We are stuck with this heat and humidity until those thunderstorms come in here sometime tomorrow afternoon. Before that, the heat index 105 to 110. After the storms, a big break, a nice break, and some better weather for the weekend. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Tonight, the Missouri Attorney General is investigating St. Louis County Executive Sam Page over public tax dollars spent in a campaign against the April voter referendum. Just hours ago, Page addressed the state probe.
It involved state troopers paying a visit to the county executive's office yesterday. Brent Solomon just back from the county council meeting where some council members have big concerns, Brent.
And they certainly do. This is all over Proposition B, which asks voters if the county council should have the power to remove county department heads. Voters said no. That's just what the county executive wanted. Now the Attorney General, though, is saying not so fast. $36,000. That's what the county spent on an informational flyer sent out to voters about Proposition B. It highlighted the so-called cons of the measure that would have given county council the power to oust the county attorney and leaders of different departments.
The Attorney General is investigating the Proposition B postcard, and I have turned over my cell phone.
It happened Monday. Troopers showing up to the county executive's office. Tuesday night, he addressed it.
I can't imagine that anyone has done anything wrong.
Local governments and leaders are prohibited from using your tax dollars to promote for or against measures that you vote on.
We deserve better than that.
Page left Tuesday night's meeting early before the open comment section, where council members sounded off.
There is so much work to be done in St. Louis County. This type of distraction is not needed.
I believe we tried to tell him at the time that spending public funds on quote educational materials, electioneering materials, whatever you want to call them, was not appropriate, and he ignored our advice.
Page has hired an attorney, which he says will be paid out of his own pocket. This as he seeks to woo voters to put him back in office next year.
I will cooperate fully with the investigation, and then I'll also be focused on the good work that we're doing for the county.
Councilwoman Shalonda Webb penned a letter asking Page to hand over a copy of any subpoena or any warrant that came from the state. She wants every council member to have those items by the end of the day tomorrow. We'll be following to see if the county executive honors that.
Within the last hour, we have learned police in O'Fallon, Missouri found the body of a missing woman just feet from the busy Highway K corridor. Kiwana Montgomery was last seen between 4 and 11 a.m. on Sunday in the area of Jacqueline Circle. Today, police found her body inside of a drainage culvert just yards away near Highway K. Investigators say her death does not appear to be criminal or suspicious. They are waiting for autopsy results and working to obtain surveillance video from that area.
New tonight, a 16-year-old is recovering after being hit by a police cruiser during a chase through the Bevo neighborhood. Investigators say the teen crashed a car stolen in a carjacking near California Avenue and Potomac Street. He then ran into the road near South Compton and Potomac, and that's when he was hit by an SL-MPD marked SUV. Police say he is expected to be okay. Confusion tonight over recycling in the city of St. Louis.
5 News 5's Laura Barcheski talked with community members who say their recyclables are still being picked up and mixed with regular trash.
Mike and Kelly, it was supposed to be a temporary solution following the May 16th tornado. On top of confusion about collection, there's also talk about getting rid of recycling bins and alleyways altogether. Residents tell me they just want a solution.
For a little more than a month following the tragic tornado that hit North St. Louis, trash, recycling, and yard waste were all being picked up by the same trucks, just because of the sheer amount of waste being picked up.
July 1st, it was supposed to resume to be all separated in alleys. And that's what I thought was going to happen, and I think that's what my constituents thought was going to happen too.
But in Alderwoman Ann Schweitzer's ward, that hasn't been the case.
I've talked to other neighbors and residents who have seen it in our neighborhood.
Resident Jesse Stewart says there hasn't been any communication about what's happening with the recycling since the tornado-related announcement.
And it's just, I think, keeping us informed so we know what's going on and you know, can continue to have hope and that there's a plan down the road to, you know, create a solution for what's going on.
There's also talk about removing the alleyway recycling bins altogether, something Mayor Kara Spencer talked about during her campaign.
And I understand where she's coming from because so much of what gets put in the alley bins ends up getting thrown out because unfortunately people either don't know what's recyclable or people, if their regular bin is full, they may end up dropping it off at, you know, putting stuff in the blue bin that shouldn't be in the blue bin.
Schweitzer says right now she's recommending people drop off recycling at designated drop-off locations to make sure it gets recycled, but is hoping for a more accessible solution.
That can be tough for people who don't have a car or a way to get around to participate. And it's tough for just everyday people who do have those modes of transportation to add another stop into their day. So I think it'll end up with even less getting recycled.
Stewart says recycling is important to active city residents like him and even to others wanting to move here.
So if we're trying to drive people to move into the city and live in the city, that's a thing that people really care about and want to see a sustainable solution in place for that. So I think having a plan is critical to not just like today's issue, but like the city's future.
And I reached out to the city about these concerns and requested an interview, but did not hear back. We do have more information on KSDK.com about how you can find one of those recycling drop-off locations near your home.
Today, damage assessment crews went door to door in Ellsbury, Missouri, a town hit hard by flash flooding over the weekend. Nearly 10 inches of rain fell in the area over the weekend, damaging and destroying several homes. Right now, the Ellsbury United Methodist Church is providing some people with shelter and supplies as they wait for further assistance.
Tonight, a Wendy's on Union Boulevard is closed after another violent workplace incident. It started this morning as a fight between co-workers. Police say a 52-year-old man stabbed a 28-year-old man multiple times. The stabbing victim then grabbed a gun and shot and killed that man. This is the third act of workplace violence in just 3 weeks. Last Wednesday, a Collinsville Walmart employee stabbed a co-worker behind the deli counter. And a week before that, a McDonald's manager in Belleville shot an employee's mother during an argument.
Tonight, New York City is mourning the loss of 4 people shot in a Midtown Manhattan office building. Hundreds of people showed up to a multi-faith vigil to remember the victims. Police say Shane Tamura walked into an office building last night and opened fire. An off-duty NYPD officer was killed, along with 2 civilians and a security guard.
This senseless act of violence, as the police commissioner and I walked through the building, we saw the blood trails and the videos, the level of violence that I have not witnessed at that level before.
The suspect took his own life. Police believe the man may have been targeting the NFL main offices. A note left behind says he linked his mental illness to CTE he believed he got from playing football in high school.
Tornado support for sacred spaces.
We're hurting, and it's devastating.
The help for St. Louis churches slammed by the storm to find salvation.
It allows you to use those fundings to rebuild.
Breaking the heat with a bang. Thunderstorms are expected to develop for some of us tomorrow afternoon, like they're doing tonight to our north and west. A few could be rather strong. We're timing those rain chances and looking ahead toward a fantastic weekend.
Canine closing time.
To have it closed down so suddenly it's incredibly unfortunate and a huge loss for the community.
The decision of a dog-friendly bar that has members barking tonight.
We've seen how the May 16 tornado left its wrath on so many structures in St. Louis, including churches.
Many still need help rebuilding. Tonight, 5 News Side's Robert Townsend takes a closer look at the federal funding for these faith-based groups.
Things flying off over there. Roofs are flying off. Oh my goodness.
It's been more than 2 months since a soul-stirring storm ripped through St. Louis and pounded historic Centennial Christian Church in Fountain Park.
If you go inside, the sanctuary looks intact, but it's deceiving. Like the walls are caving in, we had a roof collapse and we had a floor collapse.
The fast-moving EF3 tornado caused this incredible damage to the 121-year-old church in North City within minutes. Longtime member Pat Pendleton, inside working with the church's food ministry at the time, died after getting trapped under the piles of bricks.
It's tragic, everything that has happened. It's too damaged for repair.
At 141-year-old St. James AME Church, also on the city's north side.
After the storm, there were more shingles on the ground than there were left on the roof.
Water now leaks from their tarp-covered roof. Musical equipment.
We have to replace the keyboard as well.
And a beloved stained glass bearing a picture of their founder were also damaged as a result of the storm.
Sometimes it seems like the leaks are in different places all the time, and so we put the buckets out. We're looking easily at a couple of $100,000, at least 60 for roof.
Thousands of dollars the 80-member church doesn't have. Clergy leaders say 148 churches in the city of St. Louis were impacted by the May 16th tornado. The damage ranges from minor to total destruction.
We're hurting, and it's devastating.
While leaders at Centennial and St. James AME have applied for financial assistance with the U.S. Small Business Administration, a majority of the storm-battered faith-based groups have not.
When they hear Small Business Administration, I know that sometimes people think that it's just businesses only.
But officials want more clergy leaders to know they can apply for up to $2 million federal dollars to help their churches recover after the tornado. You may apply online or in person at a disaster recovery center.
You can rebuild. You can use the funding to replace any lost inventory, equipment, anything inside of that building.
As these two pastors wait on funding help, they rely on their faith as they look to the future.
Our hope is that we will be able to start repairs on the roof in the coming weeks.
We own that land, and so we want to rebuild right there. We have every intention to be a lighthouse in Fountain Park.
Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
Church leaders who want to apply for financial assistance may call the U.S. Small Business Administration. Now, we have that contact info in the As Seen on TV section on KSDK.com.
Tonight, a popular dog-friendly bar is closed, and customers who bought annual memberships are out of that money. Bar K shut down all 3 of its locations today, including its St. Louis bar on McCree Avenue. Management says economic challenges forced the decision, and they will not issue refunds. Members say they're not just losing money.
It stinks, though. You know, it was an incredible way to kind of promote a better sense of community here than St. Louis, and I think it was doing a really good job at that. So to have it closed down so suddenly it's incredibly unfortunate and a huge loss for the community.
RK says it's working to put together a package of benefits in an effort to return as much value as possible to members.
Check this out. A South Carolina man's car was swallowed by a sinkhole on his way to work. He stopped at an intersection when the ground just gave way. He saw water coming into his car, so he opened the door and jumped out as quickly as possible. The driver was able to get to safety after he saved some valuable items.
Water came in and quit right away. I grabbed my computer, threw it over top, and then while the back was still out, I got my golf clubs.
City officials said a 12-inch water main break caused the sinkhole.
All right, Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell rejoins us now with the weather impact forecast, and we're going to get a break from this heat. But first, the possibility of storms tomorrow.
Yeah, the possibility of storms. We get a break from the heat, but we're not getting a tsunami, and that is a real possibility here in Hawaii in about 2.5 to 3 hours from now. Unfortunately, we're looking here, right in Honolulu, and here's some of the resorts, and there's people standing there, by the pool. And obviously there are a lot of high rises there, so that is a good thing if you can get up beyond the 4th floor of a 10-story or higher building, because that's the level it could possibly get to. It's about a 10-foot, what we're thinking, tsunami that could impact Hawaii because of this 8.8 magnitude earthquake. This is now a top 10 earthquake on record since we've been measuring it off the coast of Russia, kind of down southwest of the Aleutian Islands. So right now, tsunami warnings in effect across Hawaii and the Aleutian Islands. You have tsunami advisories for the Pacific coast of Canada all the way down along Washington, Oregon, and California's coast, although they're not expecting a big tsunami. These are big storms that are firing up tonight across Nebraska. Look how they're starting to kind of come out of South Dakota, Nebraska into Iowa here, forming a big complex. We'll see how that evolves for the overnight hours. It's definitely going to come into play for tomorrow as it works into this very warm, very humid air. We've been dealing with the heat and humidity now for 11, 12 days. Tomorrow's threats, maybe some gusty winds from a few storms, but downpours. This atmosphere is just loaded with moisture. We know that. We felt it. We've worn it over the last few days with dew points around 80 degrees. By the way, our dew point this morning was 80 in St. Louis at 8 o'clock. That sets a record for the day. 28 other days on record going back to 1945 when the dew point was 80 or higher. By lunchtime and right after tomorrow, the outflow from those thunderstorms, or kind of the exhaust of the cooler air trying to push our way, we'll try to initiate a few thunderstorms. More likely we get them later in the afternoon and perhaps into the evening. Then overnight tomorrow night, scattered showers around, maybe a rumble or two of thunder. But here's the great news. Cooler air is coming. Even though we don't get a lot of sunshine on Thursday and we may still have a little bit of rain, our temperatures are in the 70s for most of the day on Thursday. Wish we could say that now. We're not even getting into the 70s for lows tonight in St. Louis. 88 right now, feeling like 101. 97 was the high. 80 was our low this morning. Overnight tonight, we're dropping to around 80 in town. 70s in the outlying areas. Heat index values tomorrow, again, 105 to 110 ahead of any thunderstorms. Once any thunderstorms roll through here, that's it for the heat and humidity. Things get much better. The weather impact alert continues for tomorrow until we can get those storms out of here. And then look at your weekend. You've got a word for this weekend. It's probably not what you've described any of the last 11 days. Totally different this weekend. A nice little taste of autumn, lots of sunshine. 50s for lows in the outlying areas Saturday and Sunday morning.
We're not going to know what that feels like.
Yeah, it's going to be a shock.
All right, Scott, thanks.
Here's Frank with sports.
Not a night to remember for the Cardinals, but it was a week to remember for a basketball star from East St. Louis. Sports is next. Counting radio, let me say this for the 10th time. The object this week is to not win a series against the Miami Marlins. I could care less. The goal is to make smart trades at the deadline with your pitching assets. It's about the 3 F's. Furbish the future of the franchise. I don't think that Sonny Gray is going to be traded. He has a no-trade clause and likely won't allow it. And his value has gone down a lot lately anyway. Grant Pauley took him deep in the second. Marlins led it 2-0. Gray went 5 and allowed 3 runs. Remember Sandy Alcantara, a former Cardinal with great promise? He lived up to it, not here. He won a Cy Young and was a 2-time All-Star. Had Tommy John surgery, not quite the same yet, but went 5 scoreless tonight. The Cardinals didn't have a pitcher on the mound in the 7th for a minute. Steven Matz either got hurt or is about to be traded. Marlins win 5-0.
Overall, I feel like when you look at his career, especially the last several years, July hasn't treated him well, but he bounces back and does a really nice job. So we're looking forward to that next one.
This Thursday at 7 o'clock, the SLU basketball squad will hold a free scrimmage at Shavitz. And folks, I know I'm called SLU Samano by some because of my affection for the program. However, they are gifted. They killed it in the portal. The most skilled could be this guy, Quentin Jones, who's already scored 800 points in his first 2 years of college basketball. Then there's the chiseled specimen number 35, Paul Otiendo. The practice load is really heavy in the summer nowadays. 8 weeks and about 64 hours of work. The coach knows he has some nice pieces to work with.
I think we're versatile. I think we're athletic. I think we're deep. I think we have good skill level. There's a lot of things we got to clear to become a really good team, a great team eventually. But the initial impressions, even this summer, are we have a lot. We have all the tools to become a great team.
We have been doing stories on TJ Hargrove since he was a junior in high school. In fact, he came to this very studio when he announced he was going to play basketball at St. Louis University. And play he did at SLU. Over 1,000 points and played in 145 games as a Billiken. He had some big moments too. He also had big moments in Denmark this past season, leading his team to the championship. And he was so impressive in the NBA Summer League that he just got the call and the contract to play for the Denver Nuggets G League team this season.
And when I got that call, man, it just was like, okay, you know what I'm saying? And it felt so good to actually get the call and know that you guys are interested in me and you guys really want me a part of this organization and you guys like who I am as a person. And because that's what they mentioned, they like my character. And I'm like, that's always a great sign because they got to be able to work with you as well.
This 5 on Your Side St. Louis City SC coverage is sponsored by Together Credit Union.
City SC takes a break from its MLS schedule this week to welcome in one of the most storied soccer teams in the world, Aston Villa. The exhibition is tomorrow night at Energizer Park as part of the Premier League squad's preseason schedule. Today, some former Aston Villa stars help with a clinic outside Energizer Park, hosting young athletes from the Jackie Joyner Kersey Center. Here's what one former Aston Villa star had to say about the visit.
For myself, and I know for a lot of people as well, it's first time here in St. Louis, so it's nice to be here, new place, see new faces here. And yeah, like I said, looking forward to the game tomorrow. Hopefully it will be a packed stadium tomorrow. See St. Louis against Aston Villa. Hopefully it's going to be a good game.
Should be an incredible atmosphere tomorrow night.
All right, look forward to it. Thanks, Frank.
A bumpy ride in Wentzville goes viral. The parking lot mistake that was kicked to the curb.
An effort to curb speed in a Home Depot parking lot turned into actual parking curbs in a viral video. A Wentzville Home Depot manager hired a vendor to install speed bumps to slow traffic. Instead, they put in parking curbs. It made for a very bumpy ride. The store manager then removed the curbs, and right now there's no plans to replace them with new speed bumps.
After 65 years of northern Missouri, barber is trading his scissors for golf clubs and a fishing rod. Larry Riney of Memphis, Missouri, retired after 6 decades of cutting hair. He just turned 84 on Friday. His barber shop opened in 1964 and has been the only one in town. Larry says he's going to miss his customers.
I'm glad to be doing it, but I'm sad to be retiring too, as far as that goes. I know I'm going to miss the people. I've enjoyed them and they've been very nice to me.
Now, when Larry first opened his shop, he charged $1 for a haircut. That's gone up to $10 in recent years.
All right, Scott has one final check of our weather impact forecast. We're going to get some storms tomorrow and then a cool down.
Yeah, the cool down is going to be awesome this weekend. Tomorrow, the best chance for storms likely coming after lunchtime, more likely towards the evening rush hour. Ahead of that, our heat index values are still in the triple digits, and we don't really get below 80 in town overnight tonight, and those dew points are still up there. It is thick out there, but it won't be come Thursday and into the weekend. Really dry air, a taste of autumn on the way. This weekend is just simply spectacular.
That sounds great. There you have it. 5 on your side at 10. We're always streaming on 5+.
Start your day with Today in St. Louis. That starts at 4 a.m. Have a great tomorrow.